Hello everybody, I'm a Gambling Goose, and welcome to my Titanfall 2 Titan Guide. Today we're going to be covering the Ion, an all-range skirmisher designed for burst damage output. We're going to be covering the modules, some positives and negatives, and an overview about each and every one of them. The first one we're going to cover is going to be the splitter rifle. The positives are the facts that the projectiles are large, it has an excellent rate of fire combined with a good-sized magazine, and its energy projectiles can't be thrown back by a vortex shield. Some negatives about it are its anemic, low damage output. It's a non-hit scan weapon. It gives it a steep learning curve when it comes to engaging pilots. And its split shot is a waste of energy that should only be used if you need to build the last bit of your core right away. Overall, it's a relatively weak primary that should only be used to build your core and inflict reliable poke damage at any range. The next module we're going to be covering is the offensive module, which is the shoulder laser. The shoulder laser is a hit scan weapon with multiple uses per energy bar. It does excellent critical damage and has a forgiving projectile size, which makes it an all-around excellent goosing weapon to shoot pilots ejecting from Titans. The only downside to the laser is that if you're in close range, it forces commitment because you won't be able to deploy your vortex shield for long enough to get out a dodge if you use your laser shot. Overall, the laser plays strongly to the Ion's hit-and-run personality. Easy to use with no real learning curve, a great module for the Ion, as long as you can get those criticals off. Next, we're going to be covering the dreaded tripwire. It's broken, it's useless, it doesn't do hardly any damage, it doesn't have any area denial because it's easy to see and it's easy to shoot. It's not worth the energy. Don't ever use it, and on top of all that, you can step on it accidentally and damage yourself. Do not use the tripwire under any circumstances. The next module that we're going to be covering for the Ion is the Vortex Shield. The Vortex Shield is the defensive module, and it's probably the best defensive module in the game. That's just my opinion. You guys are welcome to dispute that in the comments if you like, but I'll tell you why I think it's the best. First off, it's an excellent defensive utility that can block 100% of damage, and it's incredibly energy efficient, which plays into the Ion's shared energy system. It's a direct counter to Legion with his hose of bullets and power shot because the Ion can just spit those shots back at Legion with no problem, and it grants a high damage on return, and it's excellent for covering your retreat. It also makes tone players hate life, which is a positive for me. The only downside is that the Vortex Shield, its excellence is dependent on the enemy shooting at you and playing into the Vortex Shield. Overall, the Vortex Shield is a versatile tool. In order to use it effectively, you need to be able to read your opponent. If they're going to keep firing projectiles at you and press the attack, go ahead and get in their face with that Vortex Shield up and collect all of that damage and spit it right back into their critical zone whenever they let their shields down or you get close enough. It's just a great module, and I really enjoy using it. Finally, we're going to be covering the laser core. The Titan's core ability, I found, builds up really quickly with the use of the splitter rifle. It's a consistent build, and you can use the laser core 2 to 3 times in a lifespan if you time it right. The laser core has great range, and it's perfect for goosing pilots as they eject, because you know you're going to cook through that doomed health bar. So you can time your goose to just aim straight up as soon as you see that Titan go into its eject pose, and you can easily hit that pilot straight out of the sky, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it. You can use it to sweep multiple low health or doomed Titans with ease. I've gotten 3 Titan kills with 1 laser core. Now granted, they were all low health and doomed, but still, there's something to be said for that. Some downsides to the laser core are the fact that it doesn't do critical damage, it doesn't do great damage overall for being a core ability, it limits your mobility, it limits visibility, and it requires a pretty good size windup, which exposes you to damage. You're not putting out damage while the enemy is, and there have been many occasions in which I have been engaged and I haven't been paying attention to my positioning, and I've been engaged by multiple Titans, and they've been able to out DPS me and get me into a doom state before I could even get the laser core off. Overall, just make sure your positioning is good before you open up. Surprise is going to be the king with the laser core. Catching people off guard is going to make you so much money with this core ability. But if you can't surprise them, make sure that they're hurt and they have no cover to dart behind. You should really be using the core to finish fights, not start them. Now we're going to go over some notes for the Ion. I use the Ion as a bit of a bushwhacker, a skirmisher, an ambusher. I'm not good enough with it, or it's just not designed to be played this way. I do not use the Ion if I can help it in one-on-one combat with other Titans at any range. I don't like to just enter into a slugfest. You know, it's not the Scorch where you can just advance on somebody and close the distance and just eat all that damage, be it with your shield or your massive health count. Just use it to poke at enemies and harass them. Dart out of cover and then, you know, get off your laser shots and maybe some splitter shots, and then dart back behind cover to recharge and relocate, and then get out there and do that burst damage again. I don't think that it's a very strong one-on-one Titan, especially not if the other Titan's at full health. If the enemy plays into your vortex shield and they keep shooting you, then it'd be great one-on-one. But a lot of people just wait for you to run out of energy. Loadout that I would recommend with this Titan, I would say either Overcore to get your laser core off quicker, or Turbo Engine for having that extra boost, because the Ion is really, really mobile. So I like to use Turbo Core and bounce around quite a bit. Warp Fall, as always, is, it's subjective. I don't ever use Warp Fall. I use the shield, but that's completely up to you. It doesn't really affect how the Ion plays. It just affects how it gets to you. And then sometimes I find myself rolling with Grand Cannon, and I love to get those multi-kills, because the Grand Cannon provides a substantial boost to your laser core. It's not some minor buff. It's great being able to just lay into them with that laser core, but you need to make sure your positioning's good, because just because it lasts longer doesn't mean the enemy's not going to stop shooting back at you. A lot of times I've had Grand Cannon and I haven't made it halfway through because I got cocky and I just got hosed by a bunch of enemy Titans. A good one to use is the Vortex Shield buff. I forget what it's called. But I like it because you can just spit all that damage back, and you can recover yourself. You can cover your retreat. You can get out of wherever you need to get out of if you have that Vortex Shield. Overall, I'm not going to say I don't like the Ion. I'm not going to say that it's a bad Titan. I previously suggested on a Reddit post that it needed help, that it needed a buff, and I got a lot of help and a lot of positive feedback from a lot of really experienced Ion players. So big shout out to those guys for helping me find out how to play the mech better. I get the feeling that a lot of these mechs in the game are really good, and if you're not doing well with them, just try to play a different way. That's what I did with the Ion, and I found my success. And I hope this video helps you guys find success with the Ion as well. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think, if I did everything right, if I did everything wrong. If you just hated the video, let me know. I want to hear it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Goose out.